atmosphere. And in terms of literacy skills, here is my next point, and it relates to a WOW project, which I'm relating to in terms of Columbus, as I understand it, where all of the gormim, all of those that are empowered to take an interest in Jewish life and learning are around the table and thinking about what might be created here. I wonder if in a community today there is an opportunity for that small slice of the population that might, outside of a day school, wish to acquire the literacy skill to be able to read in Hebrew language the classical texts of our tradition, something that the 1999 Pittsburgh platform of the Reform movement suggests is a desideratum, right? I wonder if it is possible to obtain those literacy skills, because as each congregation, which is its own universe, adapts its program to be that good feeling of engagement around the synagogue and the holidays and this and that, and shrinks or utterly eliminates literacy skills traditionally associated with the educated Jew, ought we put on the table of conversation that, along with all of the other experiments and innovations in the community, ought there be the opportunity afforded those scattered Jews, of whom there are a few in this congregation perhaps and a few in that congregation and the third and fourth congregation, to have a different type of experience, which is not to suggest, as the New York BJE 100 years ago, that this is the experience in which all should engage, but at least those who have an interest should have the opportunity in the community, especially at a time when, because of economics, people who would perhaps have preferred a day school are unable to sustain that. End of sermon.
Other reflections on how this information, which again I want to caution is certainly not a definitive research study for many reasons, but is at least suggestive and seems, as far as I can tell, to ring a bell with most of you. What implications does this have? Gil has suggested one potential direction for thinking. Are there others that come to mind in terms of how we, as a community of central agencies and JESNA, can be refining, retooling our work in this domain?
Alan, you need to hold the lock button. Either press the lock button once or...
Now am I on?
Yep.
Okay. So Bill's comments certainly suggest what many of us have learned in terms of attracting a greater number of people, and that's providing options. Yes, it would be wonderful if there were a critical mass of people who want to receive a Jewish education on the literacy acquisition level that Gil was talking about, Halavai. But as we, I think, recognize through experience, regretfully most of our students don't seek that level of literacy, and it seems to me that those that do, many of them come from the camping experience. I dare say that most of our rabbis, educators, cantors, professionals come out of the camping movement and those informal experiences, and then they acquire that level of literacy when they've reached an intellectual level to acquire that. I think that we need to consider Kohlberg and Piaget in looking at developmental Jewish life and recognize that at certain stages along the continuum of our students' life, that engagement and informal experiences are probably a more effective way. So that if instead of going to Sunday school and Hebrew school for kindergarten through pre-bar bat mitzvah, would engage our students and their families in the Jewish life, that would create a greater commitment instead of we can't wait till we're done with the bar mitzvah and then we're out of here. It might encourage more students sleepaway camp, to be engaged in youth group, go to Israel, instead of the percentages we have, so that to look at that continuum and say, at this age, we'd be better off doing experiential and not looking at it as anti-intellectualism, but rather more appropriateness. And then when a child reaches the age, if I had $1 for every adult Melton student who said to me, wow, if it would have been like this in Hebrew school, I would have been much more engaged Jewishly. Well, it couldn't be that way in Hebrew school because you can't learn Melton material when you're a younger child. So, maybe if we took into consideration what we want to achieve in terms of our outcomes, that looking at different experiences along the continuum of life would guarantee that more people would be engaged as adults.
Thanks, Alan. Any other reflections from the group?
I still think one of the things that was evident in the Wertheimer stuff, and that seems to come out of here, is that we're making some assumptions based on people's behavior, or what we're seeing happening out there, about what it is that motivates or is not motivating people to be part of whatever it is that the Jewish community is offering them. The federations are concerned about the 20s and 30s. We're concerned about the overall declines in all kinds of things, numbers and hours and so forth, and quality and vision. But we're not asking Amcha why. What is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for something? What is it that would compel you? What is it that we can do differently? What is it that's going on in your heads, in your current experience, in your journey, which is a different stage in where they may be, and in your search, which may even be a different stage for meaningfulness in their religious lives? And I don't know, maybe there's a way in which each of us could do a small, with one instrument, the same instrument across the country, but maybe we can do some focus groups among all of us and gather some information and begin to develop on a research basis what some of the change initiatives might look like going forward. We have options now which we didn't have before. The rabbinic education stuff, the Pele things, and the other things that are going on in various communities, which we could galvanize once we had some more research. It seems to me that we're lacking some basic stuff here.